Do you think life is simpler as time evolves? For some, it can be more complicated when facing issues about health, estate plans, probate, long-term care, and more. That's why Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell hosts ElderTalk with TuckerAllen, providing intelligent answers for those thinking about their future. Here's Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell.
Welcome to another episode of ElderTalk. It's about time, I think, that we start considering fitness, health, returning to doing some of those things that some people have had on the shelf for
well over a year.
So as we think about this, we thought what better guest to have than someone we've had in the past who is very popular, full of useful information, and was representative of the JCC. So I'll let you introduce more about our guest, which is Phil Ruben, Development Manager for the Jewish Community Center.
Yes, and Phil, we're so happy to have you back, and we're here to talk about the big event, St. Louis Senior Olympics. Its return this year because last year had to be canceled not once, twice because of COVID. And isn't it correct that you went to a virtual event for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, it's usually held annually over Memorial Day weekend. So in about March of 2020, we made the decision to postpone it to Labor Day weekend 2020. And then in July, we ultimately had to cancel it because the virus was still very present in the community and not safe to hold a large-scale event especially with vulnerable seniors that are participating. This year, as the region and the world recovers from this pandemic, we are very, very excited to welcome back the St. Louis Senior Olympics to the slate of in-person activities for 2021. But yes, last year, because of our athletes missed it so much, we did hold the games in a virtual format over Facebook. We encouraged and inspired health and wellness for people to send in their videos, their statistics of events that they held on their own safely, whether it was playing table tennis with their family in their basement, throwing the shot put at their local track and field, lifting weights in their home gym. It was really inspiring of how passionate people were to still compete, albeit virtually, in the Senior Olympics over last year, Labor Day weekend.
Right. And I'm glad that you did find some way to put on the event, but this, having it in person, there's nothing like it. So I imagine the response from, you have 1,200 athletes, over 1,200 a year. I imagine they're super excited.
I mean, they're so excited. Even last year, right before Labor Day, people were calling and emailing, asking if we were still holding the event, as the world was obviously, neck deep in the Corona talk. But, this year already, as we mentioned, it's usually held annually over Memorial Day, but this year, Labor Day. So we're a month before. People are asking if it's next month. People are emailing, when are the registrations coming out? People are so eager to come in person and compete because, an athletic event, a health and wellness inspired event is really no match for in person. The camaraderie, the competition, the friendships that are there, so prevalent when people are in person. You can't match that by submitting something over social media.
I remember you talking about that last year, the friendships that would develop through this event.
Well, let's go back, though, because I know there are some people, I don't know how many, maybe not a lot, that are not thoroughly familiar with this event. But I'm sure there's some who are not. Let's go back to basics first and kind of reintroduce it as you did last year.
Sure. So the St. Louis Senior Olympics are a Masters-style athletic competition. So it's for people that are 50 years of age and older as of December 31st of the competition year. So if you're 50 as of December 31st this year, you're eligible to compete. We have a myriad of events, all health and fitness and sports related, whether it be competitive events like track and field, cycling, swimming, fun events, I call field day events, like throwing a football or throwing a frisbee, and, backyard games, shuffleboard, badminton, table tennis, events for everyone. Absolutely everyone can do. There's over 90 events that people can choose from.
And 1,200 participants?
1,200 participants, hundreds and hundreds of volunteers help put these games on each year.
And where are they held?
They're held all over the greater St. Louis metropolitan area. The hub is the JCC in Creve Coeur, the Jewish Community Center. And then we partner with about a dozen other venues across St. Louis and St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and St. Charles County.
So this is spread out over a weekend, correct?
Yeah, and this year, just to be safe with health and safety measures in mind, there are events spread out over 2 weekends just to be safe as well. So we're going to do events, some events the weekend prior, August 28th and 29th, and then the majority of events will be September 3rd through 6th.
And they'll be outside mostly.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you asked. We are making some changes this year to keep that in mind. So usually tennis and pickleball, for example, are inside. This year, we are holding both of those events outside because, as you know, the virus, it's safer to be with friends and family outside. So some of our events, whenever possible, we're going to do outdoors this year.
Now, will they be required to wear a mask?
We will encourage it. We will encourage, mask wearing, but as long as people are socially distanced, we will have all those measures in mind and safety protocols, social distancing in place.
And you'd like to think with it outside and people distance that they wouldn't have to wear a mask. I mean, it's difficult to wear a mask during strenuous activity.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if it's in the heat.
Right.
Especially.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I mean, it could be very, very hot Labor Day, but, we will just make sure it is a safe event for people to compete in. Whether it's volunteers and event directors that are not exhibiting as much energy and force, that are not, running a 50-meter or a 400-meter dash, they should be wearing masks, obviously. But if you're, competing, then, we will keep that in mind.
So give us the age range. So starting at age 50, but tell us what kind of the bell curve is of participation. 65
to 69 is the peak for both males and females. And it's a pyramid exactly like that. It's, it peaks up, it gets, 50s, we're the St. Louis Senior Olympics. I still, to this day, I've been involved with the games since 2005 and was the director from 2011 until, last year, if it counts. I still have not found a 50-year-old who thinks they're a senior. So, we struggle with our terminology.
Yeah.
But 50-year-olds are eligible to compete. And, then it just gradually decreases after the 65 to 69 age group.
What's the oldest athlete you've ever had?
That I can think of in my head right now is a couple of years ago, we had a 102-year-old throw washer toss.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we've had, people above the century mark.
I
for
love
sure.
it.
Yes.
That is amazing.
That is.
They should get a trophy for showing up.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
So now, tell me, is this Senior Olympics something that happens around the country?
It is. Actually, the St. Louis Senior Olympics were the inspiration for the National Senior Games, which is a national organization based out of Florida who do national competitions every other year. They've also had some COVID battles, so they were supposed to be this year and have delayed it until next year. There are many regional and local games, just like the St. Louis Senior Olympics, but we are by far the biggest and the best. I can promise you that.
He's not bragging, is he?
But there are state games in every state, and each state has a qualifying site to get to nationals, and that is based out of Columbia, although the St. Louis Senior Olympics do hold some qualifying sites for a couple of other events, that being badminton and table tennis.
So this event, though, is not specifically set up to be a qualifying event for the
outside
national.
of those two events, no. And with the compromises they've put in place because of so many games being canceled last year and the qualifications to get national, they've kind of thrown those out for the next couple of years. If you qualified in the preceding one, you can go to nationals.
So with St. Louis obviously being the best,
Of course.
Is it also true, though, that St. Louis is one of the larger ones?
We are one of the I cannot find a larger local or regional games, non-state games than us.
That is impressive.
Especially in the immediate area. We are, near 1,200, north of 1,000 every single year, no questions asked. The closest geographically to us are just a few hundred people.
Now, do you have to be a resident of the St. Louis area to compete, or do you accept people, say, from another state?
Last year, when I say last year, the last time we did it was 2019. We had about a dozen states and about over 170 zip codes represented. So the majority of them are the greater St. Louis area. So, county, city, the other side of Illinois, St. Charles County. But they come from all over. People who have retired, out of St. Louis, that moved to Florida or moved elsewhere, but they competed when they were living here. they're so fond of our games and so passionate, they come back just for that weekend to compete.
Really?
Or if people are traveling into St. Louis, because, it's usually a holiday weekend, even so this year, they're visiting family. Hey, there's a track and field meet I can run. And so they compete that way. People who are competitive travel for certain events, especially the more competitive ones, like track and field. So we have people from all over.
Now, tell us about your athletes. How competitive are they with each other?
Very, but it's a friendly competition. I've seen, I think I told you guys last year, people holding hands crossing a finish line at the track and field meet. People cheer for you to throw the ball farther than me. Wow. And they are excited when they have a birthday and they move up to the next age group because they're the youngest one, so they're the most competitive. So when you're 64, you're the old man in the age group. Then your next birthday, now that you're the baby in the age group, you're the youngest in the 65 to 69.
So let's talk about that. What are the age groups?
It's 5-year age groups, 50 to 54. All
5
the way up
categories, or every 5 years?
Every 5 years, and then male and female split. People are living longer and healthier lives. And actually, a couple of years ago, our oldest age group was 90 and over. And we had several 95-year-old families come to us and say, that's not fair. Why are we competing with these young ones, these 91-year-olds? And we created a 95 and over. So now it's 90 to 94, then 95 plus.
Oh.
Now soon there will be a 100 plus category.
Yeah.
I'm interested about the level of success that this has been in St. Louis. And of course, I'm sure it's in part because of the organizational skills of the Jewish Community Center here, you and others. But is St. Louis, are our demographics a little older, or is there more of a community spirit? I wonder what it is that explains the high level of participation in St. Louis versus...
I think we have a rich history. As I alluded to, we were the inspiration for the National Senior Games. So the background of the St. Louis Senior Olympics was the JCC was celebrating our 100th anniversary in 1980. And, some of our board members at the time, saw some of these games popping up around the country. And, they said, let's try that to celebrate our 100th anniversary in 1980. And, they picked 20 events and, thought, let's see how many people, come, threw a bunch of events at the wall and saw what stuck. And, they had the games with about 20 events, a few hundred people. And, they wiped their hands clean of it and, said, let's have a recap meeting of how it went, how we celebrated. The letters started pouring in, one after the other, saying, I want to train for next year. How about you add this event? I need to invite my brother. My friend wanted to do it, but he was out of town. When's the next one? And now we're looking 41 years later, and we're still celebrating that 100th anniversary. So
wow.
I think for sure our rich history of being involved and being there for so long.
You were early.
We were early. We have the benefit of having the facility. The J is an amazing... multi-purpose athletic facility that has the space and the fields to do many of the events. So we have a good hub of activity. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well. And, I think, I would be short to say, the staff is amazing too.
I mean, it's got to be in part, obviously,
Right.
the staff.
Right.
So you all been doing it annually since 80? Every year, not every other year?
Every year except last year, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first year. I remember you said that it was canceled in its entire
So,
history.
it was and we actually changed our phrasing. We were the 40th annual, 41st annual, but now we're the 41st games in 2021 because it's not technically annual anymore because we have that asterisk from last year.
Are there trophies awarded? What designation is there to the winner?
There's medals for first through third place, gold, silver, bronze, and then we give ribbons for fourth through sixth place. These people love their medals. I've been, on news broadcasts, interviewed with athletes many times. I've seen athletes, boast and brag. These people love their medals so much. They have shadow boxes, them on display in their trophy room. So, it means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Now, most of these participants, would you say that they were athletic when they were young, or do you have a mixed bag?
I would say a mixed bag. Again, the competitive athletes, you can tell that they were, competitive at a young, at a young age. We've had, former collegiate athletes, professional athletes compete. We've have Olympians that I'm blanking on the name, but we have a U.S. Olympian that was a diver in the United States Olympics team that is our golfer. So we have,
Wow.
amazing athletes that have competed in the St. Louis Senior Olympics that, competed on a much higher level. But, there's also people that do it to stay healthy. I mean, I can tell stories that the St. Louis Senior Olympics keeps people alive. They stay healthy, they train, they exercise year-round to get to the St. Louis Senior Olympics. And if it wasn't for the St. Louis Senior Olympics, they may not, exercise, they may not eat right. We were featured in a cancer journal last year that highlighted 2 St. Louis Senior Olympians and how the Senior Olympics were part of their cancer journey. One athlete, was going through some treatments, and she told her doctor, I have to throw the javelin at the St. Louis Senior Olympics. I have to make it to Senior Olympics. I have to throw the javelin. And lo and behold, she was well enough to make it to the Senior Olympics, but our javelin area was down a hill, so she wasn't well enough to walk down this steep hill to get to the area. But our volunteers were so courteous and nice and so dedicated that we brought the javelin to her. So she made it, and she threw the javelin at the St. Louis Senior Olympics. And that was something that was highlighted. And so how important these games are to so many people.
Yeah, that's lovely. That really is.
And so then if you have groups divided up into 5-year groupings, then does that mean that for some, of course, it's much more competitive than for others? So give me a sense for the number of people that might be competing in different categories, the most popular to maybe perhaps the less popular, and how many others might participate in that category.
So, 65 to 69 is the most popular category. It varies by, event and sport. But, we'll have, over a dozen people in a certain age group that not everyone will medal. But, as you get to certain ages, there's not many 95-year-olds that can compete, so there's fewer in that age group.
So you might have some categories for some sports where maybe there are just 3 or 4 people?
Correct. Yeah, just total. It varies year to year and varies event to event.
So what are the 3 most popular versus the 3 less popular, we'll say?
60 to 64, 65 to 69, and 70 to 74.
I'm sorry, I meant in terms of the sport.
Oh, we have 200 track and field athletes. One of our more popular events is a team event, a water volleyball, which has, over a dozen teams in 3 different age groups. So
a dozen teams?
Yeah, so that we play at Laclede Groves down in Webster Groves. We partner with them for many years. And many of these water volleyball teams come from local senior communities, and they play 9-on-9 in the pool. And it's competitive. They love it. They actually sometimes, again, non-COVID years, they scrimmage throughout the year. They go to meet at someone's pool and play games. And that's pretty competitive as well. So that's pretty popular. Swimming is popular. I mix up, I don't mix them up, but I put together all the field day events. A lot of people do like the basketball around the world, the basketball free throw contests, throwing the softball as far as you can, the accuracy throws. So those are pretty popular. We have like the team events, those field day events, the competitive events. So,
like washers?
Yeah, washer toss, washer
toss.
A
very popular St. Louis.
I've never done that. That's a St. Louis thing.
Yeah, we added cornhole a couple of years ago as well.
So much fun.
And that became very popular too. So
the beanbag throw?
Yep.
See, I've missed out on all these activities not being from St. Louis.
You know what? You visit us on Labor Day, I'll give you a free entry. I'll let you compete against some of the other athletes. See where you stand.
I won't be far from that heavy category. So I'm 63. But you're right. When I turned 50 and started getting a copy of ARP in the mail, I thought this must be an erroneous address.
AARP is a big supporter and a big sponsor of our game. So, we partner with many local organizations who help support the games, and we couldn't do it without many of our partners.
So let's talk a little bit about the funding. I assume some of it comes from your own funds through the JCC, but who are your primary partners apart from, of course, ARP? ARP is pretty deep pocketed.
Yeah, so we have, the funding comes from People Pay, the program participations, the athletic fees for participation.
Let's pause there. So how much are the fees?
So it varies. For general purposes, we'll just say it's $47 and that's an unlimited event. So that's not, $47 for washers, $47 for bocce ball, 47 for cornhole. It's 47. You can do as many events as you want, and trust me, people take advantage of that.
Well,
And then they yell at me when they're running late on the other event because they signed up for all 30, all 90 events.
they won't get their money's
Double
worth.
booked me again,
Of
Phil.
course.
So then people pay. That brings in some money.
Yeah.
So who are your other 2 or 3 major donors?
So we have, the sponsors that have supported us in the past. So Barnes-Jewish Hospital has been a sponsor in the past. AARP has been a sponsor in the past. Anthem Blue Cross, Edward Jones, Cigna,
You all have some
local
major
retirement communities.
Major
sponsors.
yeah.
And I'd be remiss to say, we are, still fundraising for the 2021 games. So, if anyone is listening out there and wants to get involved with this certainly special, unique event, there are plenty of sponsorship opportunities available that with a unique audience, a dedicated, healthy audience of a targeted population, I'd love to have that conversation.
And this is publicized where? Where do you publicize the event with the sponsors?
Throughout the local press, through the JCC database of, our members or participants, past participants, through, other, press releases, news outlets, the local, community web listings, calendars. A lot of it's social, a word of mouth. Our biggest supporters are our athletes and, those bringing in that, just like you said, that it's kind of a lost treasure of people that are doing it that, said you need to do this. And, once you're in, you're hooked. It's contagious.
And people come, you have an audience there probably. You have family members, friends.
It's kind of a reverse. How many times has the grandma and grandpa gone to the grandkids baseball game and cheer them on for the weekends? It's kind of
This time.
right. And now it's the grandkids that are, cheering on grandma and grandpa. They have balloons, signs at the finish line, cheering them on. They come out, the whole family comes out to volunteer and measure the softball throws. It's a real, I can't, it was so sad last year not to see it.
Yeah.
And, the first year I saw, a senior athlete run faster than I could as a 20-something-year-old. I'm like, oh my God, it's so inspiring. And just the atmosphere, the camaraderie of everyone together and, in the same senior Olympic shirts, cheering everyone on to, whatever event is, it's awesome.
And last year, though, you did this remotely, which seems to me a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, you can't match a sporting competition, an athletic event in a virtual space. There's
right.
You do your best. But with that being said, I was truly inspired by the positive response of our requests for submissions of them. Again, lifting weights in their home gym.
That was easily verifiable.
Right. And them taking pictures of them, at a past event or, someone sent a volunteer sent in a picture of them wearing their Senior Olympics shirt in Japan. Just things like that of just getting that Senior Olympics name out there, just keeping it in your mind. It's that special to so many people.
And this was all submitted on your website and, of course, social media.
We have a Facebook group called St. Louis Senior Olympians, and, we share news updates and people, that's where people shared it, and that was pretty active throughout the Labor Day weekend last year.
Now, are you expecting as many athletes as you've had in the past?
We hope for full capacity this year, but know that, some people are not ready to do these type of events yet. But we have the luxury of being able to spread out, while there's going to be over 1,000 people that could compete. They're not all 1,000 people in one space at one time.
Right.
They're at, the bocce pits. They're at, the track and field venue, which is offsite. It's spread out a bit.
And I think that people should really encourage, nudge along older people who perhaps still are fearful. And I think that an event like this, clearly there's so much benefit associated with it. And assuming that these people, as I assume they are, certainly if they want to be, they've been vaccinated, and older people especially. So for people who are vaccinated and still hesitant to come out, I hope that loved ones, I know I've been doing this with my mother, I've been nudging her out of the house. She's vaccinated, I think she's safe.
How's that going?
But, she's still, she's one of there are some seniors who are fearless on this, and there are others who just are, incredibly self-protective. And And so I think for an event like this, I would hope that you would have the attendance you've had in the past, but you're not real hopeful that'll happen this year.
Yeah, I'd say I'm hopeful, certainly, but the reality is there's people out there that are not ready for it. I want the public to know that we will take every precaution that we possibly can to distance people, to have the protocols in place to wipe down the equipment, the balls, everything that everyone touches. Proper distancing, mask enforcement when needed. Again, we're planning adjustments already by moving, not just the tennis and pickleball outside, but our packet pickup. In the past, it's been inside in our hallway where there could be a huge line of people all jumbled together, but now that's going to be outside. So we're taking precautions to make it a safe event because we know people are the majority of people are ready to come back.
Well, and I think it's so good for seniors to go to an event like this for their emotional well-being, because you think of being isolated. So many seniors.
I think we'll look back at this whole period, and apart from the deaths, which we can clearly measure, but apart from that, I think one of the most insidious harms from this will be that associated with isolation, and especially in older people. It even has an impact that now psychiatrists are talking about, the depression that's triggered in the young because, for them it's so foreign to be isolated and to be using, whatever digital communications they have.
Zoom
but for older people, I think it's worse. I just think that it's so beneficial to get out and do things with others, especially if they're vaccinated. So tell people where they go to sign up for this.
Sure. So, we expect the registration to be available mid to late May. And, if you're on our mailing list, you'll get one in the mail. But you can certainly go to the JCC website, jccstl.com. The St. Louis Senior Olympics website is within that, so you can certainly search that. By simply searching via Google St. Louis Senior Olympics, you will come across it, which will be downloadable. It'll be on our social media channels. You can call the J and we can get one to you.
And so once they're on your mailing list, though, they're going to automatically get notified.
Correct. Yeah, you can call us and we'll add you to our mailing list as well if you'd like to just have it in your hands before.
That's what makes the most sense.
Right.
Yeah. And Phil, you don't have to be a star athlete to participate in this, I take it.
No, you do not. I mean,
someone like me, I could participate.
We encourage participation. Anyone, and I mean anyone, can go out in there and throw a softball, And, it's a competition amongst yourself. If you don't care about the medal and you don't, drive on competition to beat your competitor and you just want to go out there and show that you can do it, there is something for you. You can throw a football. You can throw a softball. You can play, bocce against someone. You can throw washers. And if you are really against athletics and fitness, we have an art competition as well. So if you want to display your art, we have that on display throughout the entire weekend to get other people involved as well.
I didn't know that.
That's pretty inclusive. And I imagine that, I'm sure that this is the case based on what you've described, is there are people who show up who are really competitive and they're there to win. They take it seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then there are others who show up to have fun.
Yes.
And that's the way it is with my daughter. She occasionally runs these half marathons. She's in college. And she's not one of those who shows up with any expectation of winning. I mean, for her, it's an outing. It's a day of fun. And she competes against herself because the times are recorded. I assume times and things are recorded from year to year.
Yeah, times and results are recorded. Obviously, if it's a tournament event, I mean, you'll have points, so you'll know how many points you got. And, you had this many points last year, you had this many points this year. But, by throwing something, it will be recorded from this year. You can look at your results from last year, lifting the weights. Certainly a competition amongst yourself. So, but, with anything where you have a competition, there are the people that just love to win. And those people sometimes stand out. But the vast majority of people are in it for the fun, the camaraderie. And that's what really drives this event, the friendships. And, sometimes this is the only time people see these fellow competitors every year, and they look forward to that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's the way with a lot of these events like Boston Marathon and others, is you have this small group that's there to win and others that are there for a lot of fun.
The camaraderie,
and to keep record of their performance.
Right.
This is a marvelous thing. One thing, before we conclude, I want to talk a little bit about the JCC. How many facilities do you have in town?
We have 2 facilities in town, the Steinberg Family Complex near Creve Coeur, And then we have the Maryland Fox building in Chesterfield.
And among the facilities that each has, what are they?
Both facilities have a double gymnasium. Between the two facilities, we have 5 pools. We have 6 racquetball courts and 2 squash courts at the Creve Coeur facility, indoor tracks, state-of-the-art fitness and wellness buildings. We have early childhood centers at both sites. We have a theater at the Creve Coeur facility. We are a melting pot of activity for, a holistic approach to health and wellness, whether it's the cultural arts piece, whether you like the theater. We have a center that has, like a performing arts center that has the ability to, have speakers, family events. We have an adult day program for loved ones that may suffer from dementia or, cognitive impairments where they do recreational activities inside in the building. We have a myriad of activities. We have also a huge campus for our day camps with a couple baseball fields, a large grass field, which we use for the St. Louis Olympics as well. Pavilions. So it is a really unique, special place in the St. Louis community.
So something for everyone, basically.
There is something for everyone.
And great workout facilities. My wife used to work out there. Have you worked out there?
No.
Yeah, very nice. She used the one that was in Wildwood before we moved. But,
that's Chester. Yeah, Baxter and Wild Horse Creek. Yeah, it's near. It's deep West Chesterfield. Really wet. Yeah.
Yeah, great facilities. So what's it cost? Do you know what it costs to be a member?
The prices vary. We have so many different categories of membership, whether it's, a single, person, we have young adult, we have senior memberships, family, single parent family. So
do seniors get a discount?
There is a senior discount.
I would hope so.
Well, yeah.
I will say that you don't have to be a member of the J to do 99% of our programs, especially the St. Louis Senior Olympics, is in fact 90% non-members of the J.
Is that right?
It's a very community-based event. So it's mostly not, huge majority of not members of the J.
Right.
So the J has how many employees, for example, at each facility? For example, you may know more about the facility where you're located.
Yeah, we probably have, I did something recently. We have, a couple hundred full-time staff, but we also, seasonally, we have day camp staff as well. So, and we also, in addition to the 2 facilities locally, we own and operate a resident camp in the Lake of the Ozarks called Camp Sabra. So in the summer, we also employ, people, hundreds more people on a part-time basis because they're counselors.
A resident camp for kids?
For sleepaway camp for kids, and it's called Camp Sabra in the Lake of the Ozarks.
That sounds like a fun job.
Now, wait, is that Jewish-based or?
It has Jewish values. You do not have to be Jewish to attend, but it is a Jewish overnight camp.
And it's for how long does it last?
There's many sessions. So there's 2 sessions. Actually, my daughter this year is going for the first time. She's a rising 3rd grader. So there's 2-week sessions, there's a 1-week session, and there's 4-week sessions. And in fact, I know that you can go to the whole summer for 8 weeks as well. And just to plug them a little bit, they are going to be in person this year and going through many strict safety measures to make sure it's a safe atmosphere for everyone involved.
Right.
Yeah, summer camps, that must be really tough to pull off in this crazy.
We had day camp last year at the J. We used, the measures of the ACA, the American Camping Association, the CDC, the county guidelines, and we had a safe summer, which didn't look like usual day camp.
Right.
But, my kids attended and they had a great summer and they did many of the same activities. It just wasn't as, there was essentially the easiest way to put it is no camp-wide activities. You stayed within your group to limit the exposure to others.
But at the center, did you have to reduce or eliminate a lot of the activities during the lockdown?
So we adhere to the county guidelines. So, we have to abide by what St. Louis County says.
Right.
So I believe it's at 50% now, but we do have a large facility. So there's no, we have such a large space that we don't come close to that. But yes, we abide by the guidelines given to us.
Mm-hmm.
Are you from St. Louis?
I am not from St. Louis. I've been here for nearly 17 years now, but I'm not originally.
Where are you from?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati. That's not real far. I grew up in southeastern Kentucky, but it's on the Kentucky-Tennessee border on the east side.
Okay.
So Cincinnati was one of the near cities to us because it's like less than 3 hours,
Right.
like 2.5 hours.
So I can't ask either one of you the St. Louis question.
High school, yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd
right.
you go to high school?
Well, so what brought you here?
The J, actually. I came here for the job 17 years ago. I actually came via Dallas. So after college, I went to college in Ohio as well.
Where'd you go to college?
Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, which is on the southeastern border of Ohio in West Virginia, near West Virginia.
Okay. Well, that's near the same culture, sort of.
And then I moved to Dallas, Texas for a year and worked for Southern Methodist University in the athletic department. And then SMU Mustangs. And then 17 years later, or 17 years ago, I moved up here.
And you've been here for that long with
I've been here for that long. Yeah, at the J. My job has expanded. I do many different things now, essentially now completely different from what I moved here for in July of 2004. But it's been an amazing place to work. I wouldn't change a thing. And I mean, it's great. It's, my family goes there. My kids my older daughter went to early childhood, now she's in second grade. My younger daughter's about to be done with early childhood. Like I said, my older daughter's going to go to Camp Sabra. They both went to day camp. So we are a customer, a user of the J as well. And, they're good kids. So I blame a lot on the J.
So what was your major in college?
My major was called sport industry.
Sport industry?
That was what it's called.
I've
I think
not
it's
heard of
called
that.
sports management now. It was
sports management.
Okay.
That's what it was called, sport industry. But, it was sports management. And it was really geared towards, working in the athletic department, kind of like what I did at SMU, or tickets within a professional sports franchise. But I really made the path towards recreation. So when I first started, I was, planning sports programming for adults, including the Senior Olympics, but this actually didn't come later, but more of like the sports and recreation background. But now my job has transitioned into the development and nonprofit fundraising role. So I'm, have a different kind of lens on my, plate now than I did. When
So you were brought here by the JCC when they had an intention to focus on sports, sort of.
I mean, we still do. I mean, it's kind of, the role still does exist to a certain degree. I mean, adult sports have also been kind of shut down over the past year because of COVID protocols as well.
Sure.
So there are still sports programs at the J. It's just, there's another staff person that handles that. That being said, over the past year, it's just been few and far between, but they are slowly coming back, thankfully. But, it was, because of what was going on in the world.
So you're going to be doing more fundraising development, sort of giving development work.
Yeah, raising money for the J for all the programs and services we provide. The J, many people think of us as the fitness center on, Lindbergh and Schutz. You guys are just a fitness center, but they don't know that, in a usual year we have 80,000 program participants. We have 1 million touch points and have over 200 programs. We give out, over $500,000 in scholarship assistance for whether it be membership, the adult day, early childhoods, the early childhood center. During COVID, when we were closed for 3 months, we didn't stop serving the community. We still gave home delivered meals.
Like Meals on Wheels?
Yeah, our Meals on Wheels
Okay.
program. We did, we did a lot of virtual programming, just like everyone else, which still exists today. But, we brought activity kits to our seniors in our adult day program so they could stay, active and connect at home. We did, so many things when we weren't closed and we weren't open to the public just to keep our community engaged. And it was at that time we realized how important the J was to our community because when our doors were closed, people still needed us.
So how does the J compare itself to, if it does, another similar institution, which the YMCA is still around, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a similar institution. It has workout facilities. It's active in the community. I mean, are they of comparable budgets, or how do you compare those two organizations?
I don't know much about the Y, and I would be ashamed to speak about their institutions, but I know that the Y has many facilities in the area.
Many?
I think there's more than two. I mean,
Yeah,
the J has 2 facilities.
Definitely.
I think there's several facilities in the area, and I think they do, some programs that we do, and maybe more, maybe less. But I think we are bigger than many of the whys individually.
And is your emphasis different? I mean,
we have five areas of business. We have art, cultural programs, so the cultural arts, the New Jewish Theater, the Jewish Book Festival, the Film Festival. We have fitness and wellness, which we spoke about, which, sports and rec, and the Xenomics definitely falls under. We have, adult, social services. That's the Adult Day Center, our inclusion programming. We have camping, which is the Camp Sabra and the day camps programs, and then the early childhood education. So those are our 5 core areas of business and, everything in between.
So it sounds like you all have more cultural activities.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the Y has in regards to that, but we have, we have an award-winning, very well-known for our cultural programming, which, unfortunately, the cultural arts scene has really shut down over the past year as well. But that has been able to translate a little bit better to the virtual environment, to whether it's, hearing a speaker on Zoom or watching a film at the comfort of your own home. So, though, that has been a little better, but, we are excited to bring back the New Jewish Theater, which is kind of a big secret at the J. Our Black Box Theater is one of the only small theaters in the area where we usually have, a half dozen shows each year, but we are bringing that back this fall for in-person shows.
Where did I read about that?
I think there was an article in the Post or maybe the St. Louis Jewish Light or something.
Yeah, about Jewish theater.
Yeah, so that's coming back in the fall.
And it's community theater.
Yeah, it's community. Again, there's a Jewish lens on the shows, or the shows are written by a Jewish person, but they are, again, open to the entire community.
And the same way with the books. So do you have speakers that come in and the book series?
Yes, the authors are Jewish authors, and so they usually do come in. Last year was virtual, and there's whether it's a cooking specialty or a political person or a sports person, but there is usually 11 days of the festival with 3 authors on each day with various topics.
You probably have a lot of Gentiles that come to those.
Yeah. I mean, we are open to the entire community.
Yeah, it's hard to find good lecture series on where authors come in and speak, because used to they'd come to bookstores,
right?
But we don't have bookstores.
Our libraries,
right. Yeah,
they were shut down for so long,
right? I think actually the St. Louis County Library, you can't even go in. I think you got to do curbside pickup still.
No, they just reopened.
Did they just reopen?
But I think you have to make an appointment.
Okay. Yeah, I know for a while you couldn't even go in. You had to make
It was all curbside.
I don't think a lot of people realize all this stuff's available.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage you. Certainly, maybe you guys post my number or my email. I will connect you with the right person. The J has something for absolutely everyone. We serve people from 6 weeks old. You can, bring your kid to our early childhood center. To again, that 102-year-old person that did washer toss. We serve the entire community. A holistic approach to everything health and wellness, whether it's spiritual, mindful, physical. The J is a great place, and we're open. We are ready for you to come back and see us.
Yeah, marvelous. So I'm really tempted. I'm one of these people who's not very athletic, but I have to tell you I'm a little tempted by this senior event. My kids would get a kick out of that.
Gonna sign you up.
Right.
I have 2 daughters.
I have your email. I'll give you a comp entry.
You have to do the washers. The washers, definitely.
I could do that, I think. So I tell you, you have no sons, 2 daughters?
I have 2 daughters, yeah.
Okay, well, I can sympathize. That's what I have.
Yeah, 2 daughters.
Me too.
Almost 8. She'll be 8 in June, and then a 5-year-old.
I'm convinced God knows who to give sons to, and he knew not to give sons to me.
Right.
I mean, I think I would have pulled my hair out, so... but girls...
I'm one of 3 boys. I'm a middle child of 3 boys, so I knew nothing about girls. I mean, I would say I still don't, but yeah.
They're a
You're
treasure.
learning, right?
I'm learning on the fly, learning on the job.
Yeah, they're a treasure, I'm telling you. Well, till we do this again.
Yeah, thank you again. Maybe we can make an appointment, make a next one for prior to the games, maybe a couple weeks before registration closes, touch base again.
We can do that.
Yeah, we are for sure happening. We are excited, and I would say the community is excited for us to come back this year. It was sad last year, and we're eager.
Yeah. So this has been Phil Ruben with the JCC. This is another episode of Elder Talk. Till next time, take care.
You've been listening to Elder Talk with TuckerAllen, providing intelligent answers for those thinking about their future, with Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell. Sponsored by TuckerAllen, your estate and elder law advisors. For more information, visit TuckerAllen.com. Listen again next Saturday for another edition of Elder Talk with TuckerAllen. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.